here with IT Crowd creator, writer and director Graham Linehan. So Graham, we're going to the 4th series. So what surprises do you have in store for us this time round?
Oh God, well, a lot of romantic ups and downs for Roy, trying to get more of a kind of... Roy, I think sometimes in the past Roy's looked a little bit more unsympathetic than I wanted him to, because he looked like he's going out with women simply to have sex with them. He never wanted that. I always wanted him to be kind of a romantic, a slight romantic figure, in that he's unlucky, but you still feel for him, And I think we tweaked that a little bit. So, surprises, I don't know. I guess surprises. There won't be surprises if I tell you, really. It's just the usual stuff, to be honest. I kind of, the characters don't really develop. Roy might be a little bit more lovable, but everyone else is still ploughing the same furrow,
And all the same cast are back. Same team?
Yep. Same cast. Some have recently changed them, they're all doing great. There's a character in one episode, Benny Wong plays, who people might know from 16 Stories High, and he's just amazing. So there's very little change of the actual shape of the show. It's really just a continuation of Series 3 or Series 2. Just situations, finding funny situations and getting them in and out of them, really. That's what it's all about.
Do you think you'll keep going on to Season 5, Season 6?
No, I don't even know. One thing I want to do is I want to change the way I make it, because at the moment I write it all on my own. And I find it really hard. It's not a huge amount of fun until the later stages. Once the stories start coming together, then it becomes very enjoyable. And it's a question of finding jokes to pepper in between all the big set piece moments. But in the early stages, finding those set piece moments and then turning them into a story, it's just so hard. It's tedious, and it takes me too long because I dread getting around to it. So it takes me months to even to write a line of dialogue. So what I want to do is I'm thinking of making it more of a group effort. I'm thinking of getting in a kind of to changing from being the sole writer to being a kind of head writer, and seeing if I can get other writers in to chuck ideas around.
So a bit more like the American model.
Exactly.
Of writing a sitcom.
Yeah.
Having a writer's room.
Yeah. So I'm curious to see if that makes the process more enjoyable, and if it doesn't, then I'll just write it on my own, but then I'll stop. I think I've got one more series left. I like the characters. The thing about the characters is that some may disagree, but they're not so much caricatures as the characters were in Father Ted or Black Books. They're not very, very extreme characters, with the exception of Douglas and Moss. But Douglas is kind of like a really strong spice who I can add to the mix every now and again. So he's okay. And Moss, for some reason, even though Moss is quite extreme, I feel like I could write for Moss forever.
We've all come across a Moss in the real world, though. That's what's a bit scary about it.
Yeah,
he does exist.
Yeah, and there's so many different kind of things I can draw in for his character. So many of those kind of the anal retentiveness and all that sort of thing. That's all very there's lots of material there, you know. But the really useful thing in terms of keeping a thing going for a while is that Roy and Jen are kind of like an everyman and an everywoman, and that means that I can get all my observations about modern life or relationships or whatever it happens to be, and I can give them all to those two, and that's why that's why Father Ted wouldn't have been able to go past 3 series because I had one character who only said feckin' drink all the time, and I was running out. Me and Arthur were running out of things for him to do. But this could go on forever because Roy and Ross especially, Roy and Jen especially are, as I say, every man and every woman. And like Seinfeld was able to go for a while, even though it lost steam towards the end. It was able to go for a good long time because it was very much set in the real world, it's those cartoons, those kind of high concept cartoons. They're the ones that are hard to sustain. Bernard Black in Black Books, he's a cartoon. Dougal's a cartoon. Mrs. Doyle's a cartoon. Those characters, they have a lifespan. Because I remember in series once we dressed Jack up as a Nazi in series 3 of Father Ted, that was when we knew, you know what, we probably done a bit more things to do with Jack. Do you know what I mean?
So what about a big screen outing for the IT crowd? Can't see any possibility of that?
I'm not a huge fan of sitcoms into movies. I don't think there's any that really work.
What about between writing and directing? Which do you find easier?
Writing. Even though writing is hard, it's more fun than directing because directing is. The thing is, you just don't have. You never have the money. We're at the moment we're trying to squeeze 8 days of filming into 6 days, and it's just really unpleasant. You know, you start the day feeling like you're already 3 scenes behind, and I can't. I wish there was someone who could come in and direct all this stuff for me, but I'm so particular and precise over the way certain things should be done that I can't really let go. I mean, today my producer, who's also a director, is going to be shooting some second unit stuff. He's the only one I nearly trust with all this stuff, you know. Generally though, it's so funny, it's just a tiny thing, it's just little tiny things where the camera, you know, that people are in a mid-shot instead of a close-up for a certain scene or something like that, it's just suddenly wrong, you know. And we've got this scene today which involves Roy shouting something across a road. It's so precise. It has to be a certain way, and it can't be any other way.
And when you wrote the scene, you pictured exactly how you want to see it.
Oh yeah.
So
well, when I come up with I think it's very important to try to make sure that you're not just coming up with. A lot of people think scripts are dialogue, but they're not really. They're what happens. And I don't like sitcoms that loads of people speaking to each other. I find that boring. But it's kind of important to have. It's kind of important to have. You know, the way I see it is like it's dialogue, big visual moment, dialogue, big visual moment, long bit of dialogue, big visual moment. You know, it's dynamics. It's all about dynamics. You know, so I think that means that I kind of have to direct it more than a sitcom that's based completely on dialogue. Because with dialogue, you just plant the camera down to get a good shot of the two people speaking, and then you're away. But with some of the stuff I do, it's really important that you know you get one shot. today you saw when we were filming this moment, you know, we need to get right on top of it. But then for some reason it's really funny if we get a very, very wide shot of the action. You know, these are things that other people don't necessarily know. But I know it kind of instinctively because I've lived with it for so long. I've rewritten it and rewritten it. So when people come in and say, oh, should we put the camera there? I'm like, no, how could it be there? There's no way it would work from there. And then I have to remind myself, oh wait, people haven't been living with it the way you have.